Welcome back. In this episode, we're going to take off the airbox, we're going to take the seats out, and we're going to get all the underbody bolts out. Remember, I'm doing this to remind myself what I did and also to help other Tuscan owners in the future, not to build a channel in any way. Let's go.
Next up, I think I'll do the airbox, because why not? It needs to come off to clear the thing, so undo the clips, take a sensor, to get a screwdriver, just get these off now. So I had to go and get a bit of dinner then. The issue with this coming off easy is that some of these are in a tough old place. Like, why is that one right against this bar? Makes it impossible. I can't actually can't even get my finger in to touch that, let alone get it off. And then this one, it's facing completely wrong way around. And doesn't really want to budge. So a couple of these are a little bit tough, but you know, we'll get there, and then we'll get the airbox off.
So I just wanted to add a little bit of voiceover here because I'm taking the airbox out here finally, but then I also unscrew the two vacuum ends, one either end of the airbox, because I thought that's what I needed to do instead of just pull the vacuum hoses off. That's why it seems like I'm spannering on the end of the airbox for no reason at all. I do actually screw these back into the airbox and they seem fine. They seem like they're seated fine. I'll probably put a little bit of locker on them or something when I reinstall it.
Hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. So they're the two vacuum lines removed. And we've got the actual air filter here, which massive air filter. My Jesus wheeze, look at the size of that. Just to show a little bit of what I'm doing. I've just got the air filter off. That's where the air comes into the Tuscan. That's a giant hole there, which is quite interesting. There's just a bolt here to detach it from the airbox whole frame bracket thing, and then just down here you can see, should be able to see somewhere, yeah, just there. That's the one that's holding this bracket on as well. It's got a slightly difficult nut to get, but we'll get that in a minute, and then the whole airbox should come out. I think it's going to be much easier to get the seats out first. So the seats are held into the car by a number of bolts, though I don't know exactly what they are. I've got some really crusty looking ones just here, which I'm not looking forward to. Those, if those need to come off, that could be seriously difficult. But there are some back here that definitely look like seat bolts. These ones that do look crusty, do need some penetrating fluid on, do need a bit of knocking before we start getting after them. But they look much more like the seat bolts. And then this back here, this one feel like exactly where the seat is. If we just come back out, there's the door. So you think that's the back of the seat, probably. That's probably nothing to do with the seat in hindsight. Well, maybe. Hold on. Oh yeah. So those look like the ones. So we'll give that a go now. Bit of penetrating fluid, etc. Most seat bolts come out alright. So that one there. That one there. This one here. This one here. And then I got a little bit overconfident. And that one came out fine. There it is. This one came out fine. And this one came out fine. And then I got a bit too overconfident and I've lost the other one. Where's it gone? Oh yeah, it is that one. Sorry. This one here. The nut has come down and it's obviously got too much rust on the end. It didn't do a good enough job of cleaning it off. And it's just stuck on the end and therefore it's spinning. So I think we'll have to get the Dremel, the grinder out, get that off, so then the seats can come out.
Here is where I spend quite a lot of time with the Dremel, trying to get off this particular nut. And instead of just doing it easily, horizontally across using the angle grinder, which I didn't have at the time anyway, I suppose, I was trying to use a Dremel to split the nut around the thread. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. So here you'll see the Dremel. an impact thing driver, a screwdriver and a hammer, trying to hammer the nut round and hammer it off. It takes forever and I don't get anywhere with it basically. So this was quite a lot of wasted time until eventually I find myself a hacksaw. Just a bog standard hacksaw, because the nut was already slightly down, it was already spinning, so I could easily get behind the nut and get to the thread of the bolt, and therefore there's a much easier way to do it than mucking about with a Dremel melting bits together. Anyway, you live and learn.
And that is a better way. Well, with return, the pedal box is going to need some angle grinding, like most of them do. I mean, it's not in great shape, especially since the bolts were painted, etc. But you know, two are loose. These two, got one. Oh, that was loose. This one's loose, but they're just turning now, as they all do. But if you can see this one, this is an actual bolt right here, but look at the state of that. That's just no chance. It's going to need to be angle ground off. If anyone's wondering whether this is worth it, just look at the state of that there. I've picked a load of it off, but it's just delaminating really badly around there. It's not good. It shows you just how much it was rotting. Well, maybe not rotting, but certainly on its way towards not good shape. And here as well, you can see where clearly an MOT tester or something has pulled that off to see whether that's solid, and deemed it is solid, but you can see now it's exposed. That's not good. And right next to it, I've got this body bolt off here. That was relatively, very straightforward really. Nice, but it was the best looking one. But then look at this one, caked in paint. Just can't believe it. I did put some paint stripper on these ones yesterday, as a little bit of scene, and I managed to strip my floor, which obviously is kind of straight gonna happen, isn't it? If you use paint stripper and it touches your painted floor. But anyway, we're gonna put a little on this and try and keep it off the floor, and then we'll work our way around seeing what state each one's in.
This just shows how bad the delamination is from there across there, just where the body mounts. It's pretty thick, this piece that just kind of came off. That was really easy to get off just with a bit of screwdriver. Look how thick that is. So that's why we're doing this project, that's for sure.
Probably should have also mentioned that the seats are out, so they were relatively straightforward. Just a bolt on the end of the seat belt holding onto the seat, and you can see the holes because they're daylight that held the seat in. The rails are a contraption I'm not a big fan of, and most Tuscan owners probably aren't. So this is what holds it into the seat, right on the rails, and even when you completely move that to its fullest forward position, you cannot get to that nut. How you get these off, I have absolutely no idea. So, I mean, let's put it in the backward position. So you can get this one out, I suppose, considering it's exposed there. But the forward one, I suppose when the back one's out, maybe it'll slide on that. I don't know. But anyway, the full forward position, just you can get your finger in, but that's about it. So they're a bit crazy. My driver's side one was missing its inflator. Just to show you what I mean by that is Tuscan seats come with a little balloon thing, little inflator thing that does the lumbar support, and then this is meant to be a valve that you push to release the air. So a bit of an interesting contraption. They were just tucked under the seat overall. So it's out this side as well. We've got a couple of the body bolts out. So there's one that isn't out yet, that's painted on the other side. There's one that is, and there's one in the corner that is as well. So we're coming along. Not too bad. We're making progress. That one's out, that one's out. That one down there's out, that one down there is out. That one's out, that one's out. And this one, way in the corner, is out. Surprisingly, the method is working. The method is clean it as much as possible, scrape the crud out of the threads as much as possible to refine them again, take any paint off with paint stripper and scraping, hit it quite a few times, heat it with the heat gun. I don't have a blowtorch, but just the heat gun. Plenty of penetrating fluid, and they seem to be shifting. So I've still got to get this one, which could be fun. These two. Over this side there's these two. Up front you can see those two and those two. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 is what's left to do, pretty much. But we've done 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're getting towards halfway through, basically. Pretty good, I'd say. So here's an example of a bolt that I'm getting out, a bit rusty. It's not too bad, this one. It's not been painted, so I'm had to put paint stripper on it and strip all the paint off the nuts and the threads. But I just thought I'd tell you what I have done. I just kind of spray it with a little bit of engine and machine cleaner, just generally an all-purpose cleaner really, I suppose. And then obviously wipe it off. Then get the scraper. This in particular is just like a DIY scraper, but it's a very strong one. Doesn't flex, and I just take that, go all around the edges, and then just take it like this because it's quite a sharp edge, and just take it like that and scrape in the threads to get all the stuff out so it doesn't gum up as it goes down. Then I give it another spray with the engine cleaner, and then I give it some penetrating oil. Not that that's really going to go too far in at this stage. Now I'm going to give it some compression, well, some shock, I suppose. Just one of these onto the nut and then hammered, so you won't be able to see that end of the nut. Just to try and loosen things up a little bit. Then I'll go over here, the heat gun. Now it's not a proper blowtorchy thing, but maybe it's making no difference at all, I don't know. But so far this method has worked for all the nuts, so I'm not changing it now. Switch it on, knock it next to the nut. Obviously we don't want to do this too close because we don't want to melt the fiberglass, so we don't want to do it too long either. I do it till all the penetrating oil has been burnt off, until there's a little bit of smoke like that, and then that'll do. And a bit more penetrating fluid on it, which obviously smokes a bit as well, but that finishes off. And then get a socket on it, get a spanner on the top. So I'll show you that in a sec actually as I bring it down. So 17mm spanner, relatively obvious. Ooh! Squeeze inside the vehicle, around the ramp, and then this is the kind of thing we're looking at. This kind of bolt here. Sometimes they're a bit furry, well they have been, this one is fine. So we just kind of rest that on there. Actually get a torch body, this thing, just to put underneath it, just to give it a bit of support, because it will turn obviously and it needs to find a home, and generally it will turn to the point where it will fall off. So that's why we're not going to lift it back up. You're just going to get the ratchet, make sure it's turned the right way as always. Pop this, sorry, poor filming, but you know, doing this just to help myself later more than anything. Also have a record, put that on there, And then there we go. On this off, really easy, no dramas. Right, bit of an update, folks. Got my hands on an angle grinder, another DeWalt because I've got all my batteries and all that kind of stuff. Seems to work quite well. I've it's not not the best angle grinding maybe because it's my first time angle grinding properly, but 1, 2, 3, 4 have been ground off. Those 2 that are barely bolts, they just look like grot. They'll come off when I can move the arm out of the way. And then this bolt here is spinning because I can't get to the other side because it's behind the pedal box. So I need to get the pedal box out first. So that's where we're up to. If we look here on the back, we can see that the seat bolts, as I explained before, are out. Body bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's another one, 6. One under there, 7. Over here, one over there, one there, one there, yeah, and one here, just behind the little thing there. Obviously here, here and here, there. So there are quite a lot under here, but most of them have all come quite nicely. Those pedal box ones, I'll show you why they spin after I've got the pedal box out, because you haven't got a chance.